Sometimes life puts two people in the same room for a reason. One comes in proud, powerful, and sure he knows everything. The other walks in quietly, carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. And sometimes, it's the quiet one who teaches the biggest lesson. This story begins with a billionaire CEO who thought he had it all, until a single dad, exhausted and covered in food stains from his second job, said something that made the entire boardroom fall silent. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment to support the channel. Your engagement helps us bring more powerful stories to you every week. Welcome to your channel name. Ethan Walker had never stepped foot in a skyscraper before. He worked as a night shift janitor and part-time grocery clerk, trying to support his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, after her mother passed away. Money was tight, time was tighter, and sleep was basically a distant memory. But he did everything with love, because Lily was his whole world. One morning, after pulling a full night shift, Ethan was told to report to the top floor of Dalton Enterprises, a massive investment firm run by billionaire CEO Harrison Dalton, the kind of man people whispered about, not because he was kind, but because he was powerful enough to crush anyone standing in the way of his next billion. Ethan didn't know why he was being called upstairs. He thought maybe he messed up the trash schedule or accidentally locked a door wrong. His heart raced as he stepped into the private elevator usually reserved for executives. Meanwhile, Harrison Dalton was in the middle of another one of his arrogant streaks. The board was gathered, talking about new investment strategies, but Harrison was bored. He thrived on control, on proving he was the smartest man in every room. So when he heard there was a janitor waiting outside, an idea sparked. A terrible one. "Bring him in," Harrison said with a smirk. "Let's see what financial wisdom our janitor can offer today." The board exchanged uncomfortable glances, but no one dared challenge him. Ethan walked in nervously, holding his mop with both hands. His uniform smelled faintly like disinfectant, and his eyes were puffy from fatigue. He was clearly out of place among the suits and polished shoes. "Mr. Walker, is it?" Harrison asked, leaning back in his leather chair. "Tell us, what's your investing advice for the year?" A couple of executives snickered. Another muffled a laugh. Ethan swallowed hard. "Sir, I'm just the janitor. I don't know anything about—" "Come on," Harrison said louder. "Humor us." Ethan felt his face burn with embarrassment. He desperately wanted to leave, but something inside him, maybe exhaustion, maybe honesty, made him speak. "I don't know about stocks," he said softly, "but my daughter lost her mom 2 years ago. So I invest my time where it matters. I invest in her. Every minute. Because money can be lost and earned again, but once time is gone, it's gone forever." Silence. The whole room froze. Ethan looked down, certain he just embarrassed himself even more. But when he glanced up, Harrison Dalton wasn't smirking. His expression had changed completely. The CEO, who prided himself on ice-cold confidence, looked shaken. Harrison cleared his throat. "Why did you say that?" Ethan shrugged, unsure of what part offended him. "Because it's all I have. I work 2 jobs to keep her safe and fed. I don't get much time with her, but I try. I guess that's my investment advice." For once in his life, Harrison had no comeback, no sarcasm, no superiority. Instead, he dismissed the board for a break and asked Ethan to stay. When the others left, the billionaire leaned forward, elbows on the table. "My father was a lot like you," Harrison said quietly. "Poor, hard-working. But he didn't invest time in me. He invested in his business. He died with money in the bank and a son who barely knew him." Ethan didn't know what to say. Harrison continued, "You said something just now that I haven't thought about in years." The CEO sighed heavily, as if letting go of something long buried. "What's your daughter's name?" he asked. "Lily. What is she like?" Ethan cracked a shy smile. "Everything pink, and drawing cats. She draws cats on every surface she can find." Harrison chuckled quietly, the first genuine laugh he'd let out in months. Then he asked something that stunned Ethan. "Can you sit with me for a moment? tell me what being a father is really like for you." So the billionaire and the janitor sat together at a giant conference table, one world of privilege meeting another world of struggle. Ethan spoke from the heart. He told him about the balancing act, the hospital bills, the school meetings he barely made, the dinners he threw together from leftovers. He talked about feeling like he was failing every day, yet showing up anyway. Harrison listened, really listened. His eyes softened more with every sentence. When Ethan finished, Harrison leaned back, staring out the window at the bustling city below. "You know," he said, "I built all this to prove something, to myself, to people who doubted me, but somewhere along the line, I forgot what really matters." Ethan stood to go. "I'm sorry if I wasted your time, sir." "You didn't," Harrison replied. "In fact, you might have just given me the best advice I've heard in years." Ethan thought that was the end of it, just a strange encounter with a billionaire. But the next morning, everything changed. When he arrived for his shift, the HR manager rushed to him with wide eyes. "Ethan, the CEO wants to see you, again." Ethan panicked. Had he said too much yesterday? Was he in trouble? He stepped into Harrison's vast office, expecting the worst. Instead, Harrison smiled warmly and stood up. "I want to offer you a new position," Harrison said. "Full-time, much better pay, benefits, and flexible hours so you can spend more time with Lily." Ethan blinked in disbelief. "Sir, why?" "Because kindness should never be punished," Harrison said. "Yesterday you reminded me of something everyone forgets, that success means nothing if you have no one to share it with. But that wasn't all." Harrison pulled out a small folder and slid it across the desk. "This is a college fund for Lily," he said. "Consider it an investment in the future of the girl who inspired the man who inspired me." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in years, he felt the weight on his chest lift. He tried to refuse, but Harrison shook his head. "You didn't ask for this. You earned it. By being honest, by being kind without even realizing it." Ethan left the office that day with a new job, a new future, and a heart overflowing with gratitude. And Harrison? He made one more change that shocked his entire company. He reduced his own work hours. He started visiting his estranged mother. He began mentoring young employees. He shifted the company toward community programs instead of just profit margins. All because one tired single dad said 13 simple words: "I invest my time where it matters, because once it's gone, it's gone." Kindness doesn't always come from grand gestures or big speeches. Sometimes it comes from a moment of honesty, spoken by someone who had nothing left to lose and everything left to give. Ethan didn't know he was changing a billionaire's life. He was just being himself. And that's the power of kindness. It ripples outward, touching hearts you never expected, shaping futures you'll never see. So today, be kind. Say the words you've been holding back. Offer the empathy someone desperately needs. You never know who's listening, or how deeply it might change them.